The GMC Canyon is all new for 2023, and you might be wondering, well, what's the entire range of the brand new Canyon midsize truck? And you come to the right place, because in this video I'm going to show you each trim that's available, starting with the Elevation, moving up to the AT4, of course the luxurious Denali, and I'm also going to throw in the AT4X and Edition1. So in one video you're going to see every trim and every option on the brand new Canyon, so you gotta watch this. This is a first drive event, so I have access to every trim, and I'm gonna pull it aside each truck and show you all the options and all of the power and four-wheel drive capability and features that it has. So we're gonna start with this. This is an Elevation GMC Canyon. Elevation means it's basically where it all starts, and you get this nice plaque here at the bottom of this driver door, and it says Elevation. And in General Motors midsize truck category, the GMC is a premium truck. So every new 2023 Canyon has a wider stance. You can kind of see slightly bulging fenders, and all of them have a slightly higher ride height. And this one is, of course, a four-wheel drive, and all of them have a very similar front end. So the styling continues from one trim to the next, and I think this is quite handsome. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think the Canyon actually looks better than the new Chevy Colorado, and just so everybody's clear, I did purchase a brand new Chevy Colorado Trail Boss, but still, in my opinion, this looks a little bit better. I really like how they did the LED signature, and of course the main headlamp is right here, slightly lower. But I want to draw your attention here to the bottom, because every new Canyon kind of have this scalloped front bumper, and that offers a lot of clearance. So in the GM lineup, this, I kind of like this. It's because it looks purposeful, it looks like a lifestyle vehicle, which it is. And of course I'll tell you pricing as we move forward through each generation or each trim of this truck. So let's look at the grille just for a second. Quite wide, of course, GMC. You got fog lamps down here in the bumper. And let's talk about power. So let me pop the hood and let's see where it starts. In the Chevy Colorado, the new one, you get three different power levels, three versions of the 2.7 liter engine. In the Canyon, that's not the case. Each new 2023 Canyon gets a high output version of the 2.7 inline-4 turbocharged engine. That means it has 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. Bam, you just get one out of the gate, pretty special. And the Elevation trim of the Canyon is the only one of the new Canyons where you can get two-wheel drive. Yep, you heard it here. Everything else, including Denali, AT4, AT4X, and others, you get four-wheel drive only. So if you want two-wheel drive, if you don't need 4x4 where you live, you need to look at the Elevation. So you get that power, you get the 8-speed automatic, and you get, I think, a quite handsome look, including these kind of squared up fenders. You can see these amber markers, which General Motors actually, on the GMC heavy duty trucks, they started that design, and now this design is flowing down to the Canyon, and I think it's a really great thing. It lights up at night. Wheel and tire package, of course you can get different wheels, but the bolt pattern on the Colorado and the Canyon is now slightly different. It's a 6-bolt, but it also matches the Sierra and the Silverado. So in theory, you can interchange those wheels. And it's a strong design, obviously 6-bolt pattern. But if you don't like this design, you can switch it up to something else and keep moving forward. This one comes on a Goodyear Wrangler Territory all-terrain tire. And I'll show you all the different tires as we go through. Let's look at the inside. So let me jump in. So obviously the interior design is new. Look at this animation. This is, once again, the base model GMC Canyon. Still fairly, looks pretty fancy. Here we have kind of this, GM calls it Evotex material. So it's kind of a, it's not leather, but it's kind of a premium vinyl. You got some stitching, you got piano black, you have new controls, new design. This is basically an 8-inch diagonal display. This is an 11.3. Chevy Colorado also has this orientation, but the GMC has slightly different graphics, which I love, and also this premium feeling steering wheel. The material is a little bit softer. Also what's softer is where you put your elbow down here, but some of these sections here on the door and up here, and this insert is kind of done in hard plastic, and that's because this is a base vehicle still. Even though it's premium lineup, this is where it starts. But this doesn't look base. This is quite nice, chromed out. You've got a nice fancy insert and squared off trapezoidal vents right there. And I was talking to Brian, one of the designers on the interior, and he told me that this entire front dashboard was a clean sheet design. They did not draw its inspiration much from the Sierra or the bigger trucks. They wanted this truck to feel sporty, to feel small, and also have this that kind of a sport vehicle feeling. And I think they succeeded because kind of a double binnacle wraparound gauge surround here, pretty short space right there, and kind of feels nice and sporty. Let me show you the gauges very fast. So you have several different gauge options. You could hold this button on the steering wheel and cycle through some gauges. Ooh, nice and fancy. Futuristic. I also love that they include a lot of different temperature gauges, including the transmission on this left side. These trucks are kind of early pre-production trucks or early builds, so they've been idling a lot, but all of them have about 400 miles. But they've been just idling a lot, so I don't have fuel efficiency numbers for you, just real world numbers quite yet. Okay, and then there's this. If you've seen my Colorado videos, you know that this is one of the ways to manually adjust lights. I know this is very reflective, sorry about that. There's also another way to do this, I believe using controls and lights, and you can actually select your fogs here as well. I'm not in love with this because you have to dig through menus to find this, and it's not obvious. There's a shortcut for fog lights right here. Automatic high beam option is of course enabled. Cameras, I love this because even on this elevation, you still have 360 surround view. So that's a premium feature. The Chevy Colorado I have doesn't have that, so that's pretty nice. You also have vehicle settings like rear seat reminder, buckle to drive. You can adjust that. So a lot of you wrote us recently and said modern vehicles and trucks require you to buckle in order to put it into drive. So if you're moving it around your garage, it's a problem. Well, you can turn it off if you're just moving the truck around your parking lot. Let's go outside because I want to tell you about the payload and towing and then the price. This four-wheel drive Canyon Elevation has a payload of 1,457 pounds. That's actually pretty good for the segment and just in general, which means you could still pull up to 7,700 pounds. Let me show you the hitch here in the back. And the trailer brake controller is included as well if you get the trailering package. So this is your 2-inch receiver. These hoops look large enough for most trailer chains, and I'll show you a trailer in a second. But it's still kind of hidden underneath the bumper, probably for departure angle. So you may have to kind of go down a little bit lower. So that's not the greatest. But check out this design too. All of them have a very similar trim pattern. This was inspired by a hiking sport running shoe, the one you use off-road, running on trails. And this is interesting. There's a mountain design here on the tailgate cover, which is basically was inspired from Colorado to Utah. So basically Snow Peak Mountains to Utah Slick Rock. So that's kind of the design inspiration for this. Pretty sweet. The 2023 GMC Canyon pricing starts at just over $38,000, about $38,400. And then for $3,300, you could step up to the four-wheel drive system that this one has. So this one will start around $41,700 plus destination. So you're looking at low $40,000 range for the brand new, all new GMC Canyon. But we can only go up from here. So let me show you now the AT4 truck. Now we're looking at the AT4, which is the next trim level in the new Canyon lineup. And you can see that already, just standing back. It's a little bit more off-roady and off-road capable. That's what the AT4 brand stands for in the GMC language. And it starts really right here. A slightly different wheel design. This is still an 18-inch wheel. I actually like the polished look here, but the tire is a little bit bigger. This is Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT. MT stands for maximum traction, so it's a little bit more grippy, and it's got a little bit more aggressive sidewall, which also means it's probably less efficient on the highway. We'll talk about that in a minute, about the EPA ratings. But this is also a 32.1 inch approximately diameter tire versus on the Elevation that was a 31.6. So you're getting about half an inch more height, and I think a better, more aggressive stance and look on this truck. Let me show you the bed. I didn't show you the bed on the last one. By the way, dampened tailgate basically across the board, which is nice. And all of these, the ones I've seen, have this new tailgate storage compartment. So it looks like, well, this is an option on the Chevy Colorado as well. Bed liner is an option. You can option for that. I believe it's about $500 from the factory, but you get a lot of tie downs. You can see these, there's 2 per corner. And then also there's a little removable plugs here in the side, which you can get extra tie down, so 3 on each side. So you can really have, a lot of different tie down options. And also here, a 120 volt outlet right here, 400 watts. I wish it was more than 400, but I can't be too picky with some of these trucks. This is where the camera is on the back tailgate. It's not centered, which is one of my pet peeves. It's off center, but it still works pretty well. All of them have this side corner, so you can climb the bed very, very easily. Can you show actually the rear seat? I want to show you some of the rear seat space. So these seats are all the way back, and really the interior legroom did not change generation to generation, but what did change is some of the trim levels, and I think it's now more premium than ever. Look at these inserts. So we got piping, we got inserts, we got cup holders here for the rear passengers. We got vents. Look, oh my goodness, look at this. Rear passengers got vents, USB-C and USB-A power capability here. And of course headrests. So overall this is pretty nice. Let me actually move this seat really quick. Hold on. I was leaning it back because I wanted to show you the power seat options, because they do have power adjustments. But here, if I sit kind of behind myself, the ceiling is scalloped, so I do have a bit of room. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm almost 6'3", and I do have a little bit of knee space. You know what? It's not too bad for a mid-size truck. Let me show you some of the trim in front. Oh, I'm locked out. Hey, cameraman, can you open the door for me?
Actually?
Yes. Thanks, Case. I think the GMC thought I was a baby, so they turned on this for me. So sorry about that. But jump in with me in the front. Now this is where the premium nature of the GMC Canyon becomes apparent, and you could see this with different trim. There's some stripes here, really kind of soft touch material, looks really premium. I like kind of this brown. They also are calling out the trim level AT4, so it's quite visible, but also a little small, so it's a little bit understated, which I like. Of course, sunroof is here, and other than that, other than the trim level and slightly softer materials here, it's very, very similar to where the Elevation was. Let me just power it up. So still Automatic climate control system. This one has ventilated and heated seats. Automatic climate control. This one also has the off-road page. And actually most of these have off-road pages. There's several from Baja to Terrain, showing you tire pressures, your GPS and your elevation, and overland screen with a compass. And that brings me to the center console really quick. What they did, and this was kind of a really thought out choice, they moved the shifter a little bit closer to the passenger, and that at first seems weird. Why would you move this? But it's really meaningful, I think, because you're operating this dial quite often as a driver, because you may have to switch from two-wheel drive to automatic four-wheel drive or four-high depending on your conditions for driving, and that's very easy to reach. By the way, these knobs feel very, very beefy and positive engagement, so this is for the drive modes. The AT4, like the Elevation, has several drive modes, from terrain to normal, off-road, and also tow haul. The off-road mode relaxes some of the traction control system. It will also ask you, to switch to 4-high if you're not already there. And then terrain mode is a little bit more kind of rock crawl, slow speed cruise control. And of course, tow haul is pretty self-explanatory. It's when you're loading up this truck. Yeah, so that's pretty nice. And you got an electric parking brake right here. Also pretty nice steering wheel. And this trim goes all the way around here and also to the door. So overall, I think it's already becoming to look like a nice premium truck. So let me tell you how much it costs outside. The AT4 starts at $45,400 approximately, and of course you can add a few options to that. It's about $4,000 above where the Elevation four-wheel drive is, and you can only get this in four-wheel drive, so forget about two-wheel drive version for this. Now, let us step up to something else, something more luxurious. Let's look at the Denali. I snap my fingers and I give you the Denali Canyon, and I want to bring your focus immediately to the grille, because every other version of the Canyon, including the Elevation, AT4, AT4X, etc., have a different design than this. This is a little bit more streamlined, and of course it's in chrome, and the rest of the truck is in black. Why did they choose this color? Because we always say do not film or video trucks in black, because I think this is the best Denali color, because it sets off the wheels, it sets off the grille, in my opinion, and if it's a Denali, it has to be, I think, in black. So this is a 20-inch wheel. I have it turned here to show you some of the other clearances that this truck has, which is pretty cool. And the Denali also doesn't have a chin. They completely got rid of their air dams. I think it's a good thing, but of course fuel efficiency is another story that I'll tell you in a minute. This is a 33 though. Yep, your Denali is rolling on 33s because the slightly larger tire, it is on a bigger wheel. Your side steps, yes, are here. I don't know if this truck needs a side step. At least for me, I'm pretty tall. I don't think it does, but if you're of a shorter stature, of course there's side step options. And you could tell this truck wasn't really intended for off-roading, even though it has a large tire and a pretty aggressive front bumper. Still, you can of course remove that if you don't want to. These trucks do have capless fuel system. The turbocharged engine will run on 87 octane, so you don't have to put premium fuel in it if you don't want to. Of course, premium fuel might be a little bit better in certain conditions, like super hot weather. But 87 octane is where this engine is at. You can also use 85 at higher elevations, like in Colorado. The engine will automatically detune itself though, so you won't get maximum power. Let's jump on the inside because that's where it's at. Let's check out the Denali. Oh yes. So you probably already saw the quilting and the wooden inlays. I just wanted to draw your attention. Very subtle. Denali, and also the GPS coordinates for the mountain, McKinley Denali Mountain, the tallest mountain in North America. Let me start the engine. digital gauge cluster, basically a 12-inch display. Already it feels more premium in this model. Also, I wanted to point out wireless Apple CarPlay. I have my phone paired right now. Android Auto is also supported. I promised you to show you fuel efficiency for the brand new 2023 Canyon, 17 city, 21 highway, 19 combined. So this is for most of them. The mud terrain tire one has a slightly different rating, which is a little bit lower on the highway, 20 mpg on the highway, and that's of course the rolling resistance of that tire. It's more aggressive. So if you're going there with the AT4 or AT4X, you're gonna see probably slightly less efficiency. Also, I wanted to show you, Google system. No.
I don't understand.
She didn't understand me. No, I didn't want that. Trailering app. This is cool for the mid-size truck. I already talked about towing number 7,700 pounds, but to have this app in the mid-size segment, I think it's a huge deal because usually towing is not prioritized by a lot of manufacturers who produce mid-size trucks. But the fact that they put a trailer brake controller, which is by my left knee, and this app, I think it's super cool. I want to go through some of the more menus really quick. Ooh, this is pretty sweet actually. Wow, okay, let me check. Minimalist style, efficiency style. Once again, these have been idling for forever because this is the first event. Ooh, traditional with a tack on the right, speedo on the left, still my transmission gauges and temperatures. Oh, pretty sweet. Let me see what else is available. Gauge number 2. Okay, slightly different look. Gauge number 3 is angular once again. So it's a little bit more futuristic. So you get that impression. By the way, look at the door. So once again, where your knee hits the door, soft touch material, nice quilting, nice wood. This is still plastic. Not the best, but also where your knee hits here, also softer. So from that standpoint, it's pretty nice. But if you're one of those people like Nathan, who always want to get your elbow out the window, you may find this a little bit tough. Hello. Before I tell you the price, I wanted to point out that this window is here, but it's manual. This is a Denali. I was expecting this to be powered electrically, but it is a big opening. I can almost... Oh, I can stick my head out. This is quite nice, but it's manual. Yes, you're probably wondering about the price on the Denali. It starts at $52,500. So once again, it's a step up over AT4, but this is not the very top level. You would think it would be, but no. Off-road is where it's at in the luxury segment for trucks, of course. So let me show you a couple bonuses, AT4X and also Edition 1. This is now close to being the top dog, the AT4X. So what's going on here? So let's check it out. It has a lot to do with suspension. Yeah, this is what makes the AT4X special. So GM started this in the previous generation Chevy Colorado using the Multimatic shocks, the DSSV spool valves. And why is this cool? Well, this is a very resilient, high-performance off-road suspension. It's going to be very, very difficult to overheat one of these, and it gives it a really precise ride. At least it does in the previous generation of the Colorado and the current generation Colorado ZR2. Now it's also available on the Canyon. And it's all 4 corners, but in the rear it's even more special. Let me show you. If you look at all the other Canyons that we've seen today, the rear shocks are mounted inside the frame. This one is special because the shock is now moved to the outside of the frame, and there's a little bit of reinforcement built into the frame itself. It's really truly meant for fast speed off-road running. I recently did a video where we drove a Chevy Colorado ZR2 from Vegas to Reno off-road, and it has a similar suspension design, and I can tell you firsthand, this is the real deal. Of course, we'll be driving this truck AT4Xs separately, and you can go to tfl.com to check out future driving impressions and future videos on this truck. And it has special wheels and tires. There's a couple of options. This is one of them. It is a Goodyear Territory Maximum Traction, and it is basically a 33-inch tire. The bumpers are different. There's no more step in here, so it's a little bit different, and it's done for departure angle to get a little bit more departure here. And this one also showcases their accessories. So this rack actually mounts on this rail that's on the bed side right here. So it's a place to mount the rack. You can also mount cleats. And then inside, using some of their attachment points in the bed that I showed you before, there's a MOLLE panel that goes all the way around. So if you want to add other equipment, maybe extra fuel canisters, etc. And of course you can put a tent on top of this. And this can be done through General Motors GMC catalog. So you can check out their catalog online so you know what the compatible... Ooh, that's quite nice actually. It's pretty large. You can check out compatible accessories and configure it and then install it. So you can kind of do that all at once at GMC dealer. Are you ready for this? Bam! This is the AT4X interior, and it has a lot of color. You can see some white inserts, red stitching, and of course AT4X throughout on the seats and also on the dashboard. And check out all the switches. All the switches still feel premium, but they do have a touch of red everywhere, including these toggles. And of course, what makes it also unique is lockers, front and rear. And they're closest to the driver. So if you are getting a little bit of stuck, you can always click one of these buttons, enable your lockers, especially in 4-low for dual front and rear locking differentials, and you can be on your way. Also, how can I forget? Red seat belts. This is like a Corvette, really. Actually, the inspiration for the interior came from Winter Sports, and the inspiration for this color seatbelts came from Corvette team. There you have it, but you have to pay for this. It's $57,000 approximately to start, and if you're getting edition 1, well, let me show you that, but they're already spoken for. The reservations are closed, I'm sorry. Here's what comes on the edition 1 version of the truck. It's this front bumper section. It's metal. Additional this light bar. This bumper section includes LED lights. It also comes with a winch. So when it says winch capable, they really mean it. There's a come up winch in here with a synthetic line. And everything you see here comes as part of the edition 1 package. However, if you haven't reserved one of these already, they're gone. The reservations are closed. And some of the accessories you see here, including this rail system, for the side of the bed, and also the tonneau cover that fits within it, are going to be available as a 2024 model year option just a few months from now, maybe at the end of this year. So that's what you get when you get this badge, edition 1. Well, that's all, folks. Yes, as you can see, the Canyon can tow up to 7,700 pounds. Even though we cannot take this on the road, I wish we could. That comes later. So thanks for joining me. Let me know any comments or questions, and check us out at oldtfl.com. Everything automotive in one place.